Hi, this is Holly of Holly's Soapmaking. In this video, I'll be making a Dead Sea mud soap scented with a frankincense and lavender blend of essential oils. If you're interested in the recipe I used, you'll find it at the end of this video where I enter it into a soap calculator. All of the other details and links will be listed in the description box below. Remember that soap making involves the use of sodium hydroxide or lye, which can burn your skin and damage your eyes. So always follow lye safe handling procedures during the entire soap making process, even while cleaning up. If you're a beginner or just need some help, be sure to check out the safety section below this video where you'll find links to posts and videos on beginner soap making and lye safety. I started by making the lye for this soap. I actually remembered to freeze the water this time, so I first weighed out the ice and then topped it off with just a little distilled water to reach my required liquid amount. Then I weighed out the sodium hydroxide and combined them to make the lye. Even though working with a frozen liquid helps keep the heat lower and fumes to a minimum, always be sure to work in a well-ventilated area away from children and pets. I added the sodium hydroxide a little at a time and gently moved the cubes around until they started to melt. I continued to stir until all the sodium hydroxide had dissolved. Then I set the lye aside and weighed out the oils and butters. While I waited on the oils and lye to cool down, I hydrated some white kale and clay to use in half of the soap. And finally, I weighed out my essential oils. I stopped blending when I reached an emulsion since I had more blending to do later. Then I stirred in my essential oil blend for fragrance. had initially planned on just creating a solid Dead Sea mud soap like I normally do, but decided at the last minute to create 2 colors, so I divided the soap into 2 equal parts. For the lighter colored soap, I added the hydrated kale and clay. For the other half of the soap, I added the Dead Sea mud at a rate of 1 tablespoon for every 500 grams of oil in my recipe. And since I was only adding it to half of the soap, that amounted to about 1.5 tablespoons. Even at this point, I still wasn't sure how I wanted to pour this soap and initially thought of doing a drop swirl. Then I immediately changed my mind and decided on the one-pot wonder pour that we learned in the Soap Challenge Club. I was hoping to use this pour to get something resembling a wood grain soap, but as you'll see shortly, the soap started to get really thick and I didn't do any specific pouring pattern, so I had absolutely no idea how this was going to turn out. I did oven process this soap so that it would go through a complete gel phase and be easier to unmold. I was able to unmold and cut it the next day. I ended up cutting the soap 3 different ways, hoping to reveal a design that I liked. I think the horizontal cut ended up being my favorite. I photographed the soap 2 days later after the dark brown soap and specks were much lighter in color. Since this was a cold process soap, I made sure the top of lye was set to sodium hydroxide, or NaOH. My recipe oil weight was 1,300 grams. The lye concentration was set to 35%, which means my lye solution consisted of 35% sodium hydroxide and 65% water. I left the superfat at 5%, and my fragrance usage rate was 40 grams per kilogram. Once you have all of your information entered, you just select to calculate the recipe, then to view or print it. SOAPCALC will give you a really nice listing of all of your ingredients, along with the amount of sodium hydroxide required to saponify your oils. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found something useful here to help you in your soap making.